number one. I mean, it is a restrictive, amendment or powers provided to the commissioner. And the commissioner also, the bill also proposes to withdraw the concept of automatic relief in case of expiry of time limitation in passing the order. Under the existing law, if the order is not passed within 4 months from the date of filing of appeal, and the taxpayer has served notice on the commissioner for informing him that the time limitation is expiring, then after 4 months, the taxpayer's position was deemed to have been accepted. But now that provision is proposed to be withdrawn, and there will be no automatic relief on expiry of the time limitation. So I would say this will restrict the powers of the Commissioner of Appeals, number one, to grant a stay only for 30 days, and also he will not be bound to pass the order for an unlimited period. So what is the purpose of that stay of 30 days? So I think practically it will not work, these powers of the 30 days, and should be reconsidered. Now I can see the departmental officer is here, Shah Jitu Saab is here, and sir, we were talking about your powers under and the powers of the Commissioner of Appeals and Amin Saab. I think you came in at appropriate time, and I was talking about the Commissioner of the stay powers granted to or given to the Commissioner of Appeals for 30 days only. That is, in fact, will not serve any purpose, because there is no time limitation for the commissioner to pass an order, and also he can grant a stay only for 30 days. So practically there will be no stays from the commissioner now. Again, the finance bill seeks to reduce the requirement of experience. There are two amendments relating to the appellate tribunal. One is that earlier the accountant member was required to have 5 years of experience as a collector or commissioner. Now this period has been is proposed to be reduced to 3 years. And secondly, the bill also proposes appointment of accountant member as the chairperson of the appellate tribunal. Well, in practice, this doesn't appear to be a major amendment, but I was attending the seminar day before organized by Income Tax Bar Association, and the lawyers were really critical of this amendment. They were saying that appellate forum is primarily a judicial forum, and there must be a judicial member who should chair or head that forum. And also there was a view expressed, and to extent I would agree, that probably it will impair the independence of this forum unless and until the members transferred to the tribunal does not look back, coming back to the department back, and they have a fixed tenure sort of appointment or posting in the appellate tribunal. That may probably take care of to an extent. And the second amendment for the tribunal, relating to the tribunal, is that the appellate tribunal is empowered to grant currently the tribunal can grant a stay up to 30 days without hearing the respondent. And after that, reconfirmation of certainly would require the position to be explained by the respondent, that is the commissioner. But now the bill proposes that the tribunal can only grant the stay after hearing of the respondent commissioner. My fear is that as soon as the notice goes to the commissioner, recovery will be effected, will be done. So virtually, probably the tribunal may not have enough time to consider the stay application. So I think, some rationality should be brought into this provision. Maybe an interim relief or interim grant or stay may be granted by the tribunal until the tribunal hears the respondent and then decide finally. Default surcharge, there is, I think, a rationalization. Earlier, the default surcharge was to be levied at CIBOR plus 3% per quarter, and a lot of discussion and debate basically was on that basis, and in some cases even the default surcharge was calculated on quarterly basis rather than per annum basis. Now this has been provided that the rate will be 18% per annum for the default surcharge, and also in case a person who opts to pay tax on the basis of the order in the first appeal by the commissioner and does not file the second appeal, then there will be no default surcharge. I think good amendment. If someone decides of the first appeal not to contest the matter in the first appeal, then there is no default surcharge. This slide was for chairman and member, and I will be discussing with them because we have already spoken to them on this, and we are looking for this because the professional firms were earlier, there was a special taxation regime where the partners were liable to tax instead of the firms as an AOP, and in 2007, I don't know why that was changed, no justification we can find, and the member has agreed, promised with us to consider this favorably, and still he maintains that probably there is an omission and they will consider in the Finance Act. So these were the amendments for the income tax. Now I move on sales tax. SRO 644 has been rescinded, and consequently the higher sales tax rate of 22% and 90% have been abolished. There will be one standard rate of 16%, except where the lower rates are prescribed otherwise. Zero rating of sales tax has been substituted to the exemption regime in respect of supplies against international tenders and remeltable scrap and sprinkles, etc. The impact of this amendment will be that they will not be entitled for adjustment of input tax. Provisions relating to the assessment and recovery have been consolidated, and with the following changes: time limit for recovery of tax on account of inadvertence, error or misconstruction has been enhanced from 3 to 5 years, and the commissioner is empowered to extend time limit for passing the order up to 90 days beyond statutory time limitation of 120 days. Certain rate adjustments have been made, that has been tabulated here, and this is just for your information, and I will move on to the next. Federal excise duty. Federal excise duty on management fee. Asset management companies have been contesting the cases for many, many years, whereby the department tried to recover FED on the services of the asset management companies. And the asset management companies were of the view, based on the interpretation of law, that they are not liable to FED. Now, after 5 years, this levy has been clarified to have been withdrawn or not to be levied retrospectively with effect from July 2007. It's a good news for the asset management companies not located or based in province of Sindh. We're not aware of the other provincial, laws, if they will impose or not, but the asset management companies based in Sindh province are liable to sales tax effective from July 2011, and if in principle FED has been decided to be withdrawn, then the logic says that the sales tax should also be not to be levied under the Sindh Sales Tax Act. FED has been withdrawn on the following items: lubricating oil, enough. and FED on